Waking up, I had transmigrated as a billionaire villain boss. But before I could enjoy the overwhelming wealth, the villain system threw a bucket of cold water on me. Detecting host's destiny. You will become a stepping stone for the protagonist because you overprotect your dim-witted son, eventually dying miserably under a bridge. Hearing this, I glanced at the hospital bed, where that idiot's son was still yelling, "My dad is Chin Tian." I backhanded him twice, leaving the entire room petrified. You've completely humiliated the Chin family, slapping the rebellious son and changing the plot. Reward divine poison physician technique. Seeing such a good deal, my gaze toward my son grew increasingly fervent. Just minutes ago, right after I crossed over and cleared up the situation, the driver in the front row, Li Jun, softly reminded me, "Boss, we've arrived at Shanghai Hospital." I looked up and saw a line of blue text floating above his head. Loyalty 90%. Good fellow. Finally someone reliable. According to the original plot, this Li Jun died taking a bullet for me. Outside the car, 4 burly men in black suits stood in a row, faces full of murderous intent. Passersby looked on, whispering, "That's President Qin of the Qin Group. He looks even more imposing in person than on TV. I heard his son was beaten and hospitalized. He must be here to visit." Expressionless, I walked toward the VIP building amidst gazes of envy and awe. Just as I reached the ward door, I heard pig-like howling from inside. "It hurts like hell. Believe it or not, I'll have my dad fire your whole family." "Do you know who my dad is?" "Qin Tian. All of Qiuming City has to watch his face." "You dare touch a hair on my head, you'll never work here again." Outside, my temples throbbed. It was that idiot again, the jinx of the family, an ancestor specialized in inning his own father. I slammed the door open and walked in. Trin Shiji saw me and immediately changed face, his face covered in snot and tears. "Dad, you have to avenge me. That hillbilly broke my leg. I want to chop him up and feed him to the dogs." Looking at this rotten wood that cannot be carved, and thinking how I'd lose everything and die without a grave because of him, a fire surged in my heart. Then, under the stunned gazes of the doctors and bodyguards, I rushed forward. My arm swung heavily, landing a solid slap on Qin Shiji's face. "What are you wailing for? You've disgraced the Qin family." I spoke coldly, my words hitting the floor like ice shards. Qin Shiji clutched his face, eyes wide. "Dad, you hit me? I should hit a waist like you." I threw another backhand slap. "Scream again, and I'll take off your other leg." Angrily slapping the spendthrift son, successfully deviated from the main plot. Villain points, +300. First time breaking established destiny. Reward, newbie gift pack, divine poison physician technique. System notifications popped up rapidly. Before I could react, a massive flood of information poured into my brain. This divine poison physician technique was ridiculously overpowered. Hundreds of lethal poison recipes, all colorless, odorless, and undetectable. I took a quick look at the system panel and found that, except for my charm, everything was below the standard for a normal male. My charm was at 500, which I felt was very reasonable, but why was my luck only 100? The system gave feedback. Due to the Destiny protagonist, the host's luck is slowly being drained by him. Luck is invisible and untouchable, yet it's the key to success or failure. What exactly can villain points do? I asked internally. The host can exchange them for real-world resources in the villain mall. Every 1,000 points unlocks one lucky draw for enhanced skills or rare items. My eyes lit up. There was indeed a mall button. Clicking in, the most prominent thing was cash exchange. 1 point for 100,000 Dragon Country coins. There was also equity exchange. 1,000 points for a 1% increase in shares. Seeing this ratio, my heart raced. It meant those 2 slaps to my son were equivalent to making over 30 million for free. Feeling the vast knowledge in my head and looking at the idiot's son shrinking in fear, a cold arc curled at the corner of my mouth. I sat down on the sofa. "All right, now tell me, what exactly happened?" Qin Shiji was dazed by my sudden calmness. "WH, what should I say? What else? The sequence of events. If you don't explain the ins and outs, how am I supposed to clean up your mess? Why was this kid, born with a silver spoon, so incredibly stupid?" After speaking, I glanced at Li Jun, who caught the hint immediately. Seconds later, the doctor was invited out. and the door was shut tight. Seeing that his father really intended to back him up, Qin Shiji got excited and started pouring out his grievances, exaggerating every detail. 10 minutes later, my face was so dark it could drip ink. Turns out the kid was hitting on a girl in the street, got stopped, and then a fight broke out. The bodyguards were all flattened, and his own leg was kicked broken. A country bumpkin, who'd only been in the city for a few days, could beat professionally trained bodyguards and snap the leg of the Qin family's young master. I didn't even need to think. That guy was 80% likely a Child of Destiny character. "Dad, you have to get justice for me," Qin Shiji hissed. "Breaking my leg is slapping your face. That guy is too strong for normal people. Why don't we find a ruthless person to—" "Shut up!" I roared, interrupting him. "Is it your place to teach me how to do things? Looking for a hitman? Has water entered your brain?" Hearing his absurd ideas made my head throb. Only a brainless person would think of such a rotten plan. Anyone sane would realize that's just sending express packs to the protagonist. It's all old cliches. I took a deep breath to suppress my anger. "I'll handle this. You stay here and recover. Don't interfere." "Thanks, Dad." Qin Shiji grinned. I waved him off. "Behave yourself. If you dare pull stunts behind my back, I'll personally take off your other leg." He shrank his neck and promised with an aggrieved face. "Old Lee, go get the doctor in charge of this area." After speaking, I waited quietly. Soon, Li Jun returned with the primary doctor and 2 nurses. "PR President Qin, you were looking for me?" The doctor was shaken, afraid of saying the wrong thing. Without even looking up, I said, "Treat him however he needs to be treated. Don't indulge his ridiculous demands." The doctor nodded frantically, cold sweat on his forehead. He hadn't expected such a powerful father to be so reasonable. "All right, old Lai, let's go." "Hey, wait! Dad, it's her! It's this woman!" Seeing me about to leave, Qin Shiji suddenly screamed. I turned back. He was pointing at a small nurse standing next to the doctor. I scanned her. About 160 centimeters tall, white uniform, no mask, curved eyebrows, a sharp little face, and skin as white as fresh milk. This look. Isn't this the female lead template? "Your leg was broken because of her?" I asked flatly, the pressure making people struggle to breathe. Quote, "Yes, Dad, I'd recognize her even if she turned to ash." Qin Shiji gnashed his teeth. Tang Shui stood there and sighed softly. She had taken half a day off to go shopping, only to be harassed by this idle-rich second generation. If a young man from out of town hadn't stepped in, she wouldn't have escaped. Who would have thought the villain with the broken leg was this man's son? Even crazier, this man was Qin Xian. Since she'd been singled out, Tang Sui stopped hiding. "Ha! What a coincidence to meet here." Qin Shiji sneered. "Now that my dad is here, none of you are getting away." "Why should I run? You were the one who started the trouble." Tang Shui straightened her back, not flinching at all. "So what if I started it? Who told him to mind other people's business?" Qin Shiji looked disdainful. Tang Shui's face flushed with anger. "Then you deserve to be beaten." "Shut up! Haven't you embarrassed us enough?" I glanced coldly at Qin Shiji, my voice low. Although I heard from my son that he got beaten for failed flirting, based on my reading of countless Dragon King novels, I could guess the truth with my toes. I turned to Tang Shu, my tone softening. "Little girl, what is your name?" I'm Tang Zhu." She was nervous. As soon as she spoke, she regretted it. Why did he want her name? Was he going to retaliate? I lowered my eyelids and slowly repeated the name, then pinched the bridge of my nose. "The name sounds all right. Don't shake. I handle things with measure. I'm clear about today's mess. You didn't start it, so I won't blame you." "All right, old Lai, let's go." I turned and left with my hands behind my back. In the ward, the group stood dumbfounded. Qin Shiji fumed in the back, calling his father a wimp in his heart. Meanwhile, Tang Shui, who had been trembling, stood frozen. The little tyrant of the rumors had a father who was this reasonable? Could he be faking it to settle scores later? Soon I reached the Rolls-Royce. After settling in, I spoke to Li Jun. "Old Li, leave 2 people to watch Shiji. Don't let him go crazy and cause more trouble. Also, investigate that kid who used his fists and Tang Su's family background. Find out everything." Li Jun blinked, then nodded. "Understood, President Qin. I'll arrange it immediately." He pulled out his phone. While he was busy, a cold voice exploded in my ear. "Successfully suppress the rebellious son. Plot deviation occurred. Villain points plus 100. Improved female-led Tang Shu's negative perception of the host. Slight disturbance at the fate line. Villain points plus 300. Recovered 10 points of lost luck. What? Just saying a few words earns points? I opened my attribute panel. Except for the 10 points of luck, everything else was still at a weakling level. System, can these values be raised? The system replied impassively. Luck can only be snatched from the protagonist. When your value is twice theirs, you can directly erase the target. Got it. What about the others? Like physical stats, charm? Host can use villain points to exchange for mall items for self-strengthening. My eyes brightened. I scrolled through the interface. 1000-year Lingji, 500 points. Foundation pill, 1000 points. All legendary stuff, but the prices were scary. I held off for now. It was more cost-effective to save 1000 points for a big lucky draw. President Qin, the kid who did it, is still being investigated, but Tang Shui's side is clear. In a secluded villa at the foot of Mount Li that evening, Li Jun handed over a file. I scanned it quickly. Money really talks! Tang Shui was just an intern doctor with a simple background. As expected, it's him, I muttered. President Qin, is there a problem with Tang Shui? Li Jun was confused. Nothing. It'd be hard for you to understand. I waved him off. Go rest. I'll call you if anything happens. After he left the spacious living room, I slumped on the sofa. So she's one of the female leads. Urban power fantasies never have just one. Records showed Tang Shui's family was a line of traditional Chinese medicine, TCM practitioners. Her grandfather was famous in Quming City. This confirmed it. The male lead was following the mountain village divine doctor route. The classic trope, coming out of the mountains to find relatives, or break an engagement, saving a beauty along the way. No wonder the system gave me a poison physician technique. It was prepping me for a medical showdown. Interesting, I smirked. Just changing her view earned 300 points if I actually won her over. Meanwhile, at Jinghai Hospital, Tang Shu just got off work, feeling drained. Shaolin, go boil some water. Xiao Shui will be here soon. Inside the Tang family's TCM clinic, the old Dr. Tang Dexuan sat in his chair. As Tang Shu parked, she heard her grandfather's unusually warm greeting. Who was visiting? She slowed her pace and peeked inside. Don't trouble yourself. I'm in no hurry. A young man's voice said, casual, yet strangely familiar. Tang Shui's heart jumped. She rushed in. In the living room sat two people. The renowned Tang Dexuan and a casually dressed young man lounging on a rosewood chair like he had no bones. Xiao Shu is home. Come, Grandpa will introduce a friend. This is Ling Feng. Before the old man could finish, their eyes met. It's you! Sister, we really have destiny. Tang Shui was shocked, while Ling Feng smiled playfully. Tang Dexuan looked back and forth, confused. You two already know each other? Tang Shu grabbed her bag and pulled her grandfather to the corner. Grandpa, why is he here? She ignored the introduction and stared at the boy. Xiao Feng is the child of an old benefactor. He came down from the mountain and is staying with us for a few days. Is something wrong? Everything is wrong, Tang Shu explained the morning's events in detail. What? Is this true? Tang Dexuan's beard trembled. This boy actually crippled the Qin family's son? I saw it with my own eyes. Tang Shu pointed at the sofa. The old man looked at Ling Feng, who didn't even blink. No need to ask, I heard everything. Yes, I broke Qin Shiji's leg. What are we gonna do? Tang Dexuan's legs went weak. Xiao Feng, the Qin family is no joke. I'm afraid I can't protect you. Maybe you should leave Quming to hide? Ling Feng scoffed. Old Tang, you worry too much. He's just a spendthrift who only knows how to eat, drink, and gamble. Even if the Qin family is powerful, they can't hurt a hair on me. If they come, I won't involve you. His meaning was clear. The Qin family was beneath his notice. He came down the mountain primarily to find his fiancée from an arranged marriage. He wasn't going to run away because of some trivial matter. Tang Shui was a mess of nerves. She didn't know how strong Ling Feng was, only that this trouble was because of him. If the Qin family followed the trail, the Tang family would be the first to suffer. At 7 p.m. sharp, I stood in the hall of the Mount Li villa and sighed. A huge house all to myself. It felt like guarding a tomb. Suddenly, my phone rang. President Qin, Li Jun's voice came through. The person who hurt the young master has been found. Xiao Lu saw him in Tang Dexuan's clinic, chatting and laughing with the old man. I know. My tone was flat. Should I have Xiao Liu call some more brothers and go grab him? Li Jun asked coldly. No, absolutely not. I stopped him immediately. That guy could flatten bodyguards. He was no ordinary person. More men wouldn't help. I couldn't follow his script. He's hard to deal with. Now call the police immediately. See? Call the police? Li Jun was stunned, his mouth wide open. Yes, report it, I said calmly. We are law-abiding citizens. My son's leg was broken. What's wrong with reporting it? Despite his confusion, Li Jun hung up to comply. On the other side, Director Zhang Zhen was petrified when he got the news. He immediately gathered his team. Quote, Director, what happened? Asked Officer Liu Ruoxi, looking sharp in her uniform. Big news! Qin Tian's son had his leg broken this morning. The suspect is identified. Take a team and grab him. What? Such a thing happened? I'll complete the mission. Liu Ruoxi set out. Meanwhile, a voice popped into my head. Host did not follow the script, disrupting original development. Recovered 30 points of luck. Villain points plus 800. Total points reached. Unlock lucky draw? Draw skill, I thought. Drawing complete. Congratulations to the host for obtaining 10 years of internal martial arts foundation. I was stunned. In this day and age, someone really practiced internal power? Exactly, host. When the protagonist heals people, he relies on this. Fine. The protagonist is indeed a cheater, I thought, claim. Next moment, a heat wave exploded from my navel, surging through my limbs. Claim successful. Internal strength infusion. Bones plus 20. Spirit plus 5. Vitality plus 30. My muscles twitched. My strength was significantly higher. Most importantly, I wasn't a weakling anymore. Right, my poison study. I remembered. I rang the bell for Butler Feng. Feng Day, in his 50s, appeared. Young master, your orders? I saw his loyalty at 91%. I wrote a list. Get these items ready as soon as possible. The butler's face turned white. Silver needles, centipede venom, scorpion venom, snake fangs. Young master, the needles are fine, but the rest are deadly. Don't ask, I have my uses. He bowed and left. I slumped back. These things were just daily supplies for me now. I felt a bit bored. Let's find some fun. At the same time, police lights flashed outside the Tang family's neighborhood. Ling Feng was heading out when he ran into Liu Ruoxi. His eyes lit up. Beautiful, Ruoxi frowned. She matched the photo exactly. Name? Ling Feng. Beautiful officer. Are you asking me? He was slick, which annoyed her. Someone reported you for intentional injury. Come with us. Ling Feng was stunned. Quote, what? Before he could finish, 2 officers flanked him. Wait, you must be mistaken. He realized something was wrong. Ruoxi didn't give him a chance to argue. In the original script, she, a top-tier beauty, was supposed to appear later. But because I intervened, the timeline was a mess. Ling Feng hadn't built his network yet. He had no one to back him up. He gave up resisting. I'll go myself. What? Ling Feng was taken away? Tang Dexuan almost jumped out of his chair. He and Tang Chu rushed to the station. The news of Ling Feng being taken away traveled faster than the wind, and within minutes, Chief Zhang Zhen caught wind of it. To stabilize the situation, Zhang Zhen immediately called the driver Li Jun. Bored and counting cracks on the ceiling, I perked up instantly upon hearing this. And without a word, I grabbed Li Jun and sped straight to the police station. When the Rolls-Royce door opened, a group of young officers hurried forward to greet me. Hello, Mr. Qin. Hard work, everyone. I waved my hand casually, which stunned the officers. Such a powerful tycoon had no airs at all. Mr. Qin, this way, please. One young officer snapped out of it and immediately led the way. And seeing this, I followed unhurriedly with Li Jun. So you admit you did it? Ling Feng grinned and shrugged his shoulders. What if I don't? I did it, so I'll own it. Liu Ruoxi was gnashing her teeth in anger. This guy clearly acted to save someone, but his methods were ruthlessly excessive, and he behaved as if he didn't care at all. This casual attitude made her blood boil. Just then, I pushed open the interrogation room door and walked in, happening upon this scene. My gaze landed on Liu Ruoxi's face, and in that second, my heart skipped a beat. This policewoman's skin was fair and clean, her face as delicate as a painting, and her figure was curvaceous. Among the police, she was an absolute outlier in terms of beauty. More importantly, she was interrogating the protagonist. Damn, isn't this the standard female lead template? I somehow let the protagonist run into another female lead. Before, I only thought about using Tang Shu to farm villain points. How could I forget the urban novel staple of having a beautiful police officer's sister? If I had known, I wouldn't have called the police even for 10,000 villain points. System, how tough is this kid's destiny? I couldn't help roaring in my heart. Target character scanning. Name, Lin Feng. Luck value, 3,753. Confirmed as the son of fortune. Seeing this, I was speechless. 3,700 plus? I don't even have a fraction of his value. I'm convinced. Completely convinced. Liu Rorshi saw you enter and quickly stood up with her colleagues. You must be Mr. Qin, right? Yes, that's me. I had no desire to deal with Ling Feng and looked directly at Liu Ruoxi. Officer Liu, you should know why I'm here, right? Understood, Liu Roxy replied. Mr. Qin, can we talk somewhere else? No problem. Seeing your quick agreement, Liu Ruoxi breathed a sigh of relief and led you to an office. I wasn't formal either. I pulled out a chair and sat opposite her. Mr. Qin, regarding the incident this morning, we have basically grasped the situation. It started because your son first, Liu Ruoxi, laid out the facts she had gathered. That's roughly how it went. Mr. Qin, how do you think it should be handled? After finishing, Liu Ruoxi peeked at you, seemingly testing your attitude. The room was quiet for a long while before you slowly spoke. The results of your investigation are similar to what I've heard. Don't worry about my reaction. Judge it as it should be judged. I am a law-abiding person and only want justice. As soon as these words came out, Liu Ruoxi was a bit surprised. After all, the mess wasn't huge, and with your background in Qiuming, you could easily suppress it. Thinking of this, Liu Ruoxi said, in my experience, it's best for both parties to sit down and talk. If it can be resolved privately, that's the easiest way. I heard this and let out a laugh. Officer Liu, tell me, how should we talk privately? Do I, as an elder, have to calmly negotiate with a junior about how much money to pay? Liu Ruoxi was stunned. Yes, the man's money was piled like a mountain, so why would he care about Ling Feng's compensation? Fine, don't worry about it. I stood up directly. I'll have my lawyer handle the coordination. Seeing Liu Ruoxi stuck, you simply got up to leave. Thinking about letting someone like Ling Feng squat in a cell for a few days felt interesting. Then that's all for now. I have things to do, so I won't stay. Sorry for the trouble today. I reached out my hand with a polite tone. No trouble. It's our duty. Liu Ruoxi was a bit dazed and instinctively reached out to shake it. In that moment, I only felt her hand was cool and soft. Truly strange. Watching you lead the driver out of the station, Liu Ruoxi looked bewildered. Logically, since the other party knew Lin Feng was caught, shouldn't the first move be using connections to apply pressure? Why come personally to the interrogation room? Lin Feng had originally prepared to go head-to-head with you, but when you came, you didn't even look at him. In that moment, Lin Feng almost couldn't catch his breath. HMPH, one day I'll make your whole Qin family kneel and beg me. A man can stand anything except being ignored, and this completely triggered his ruthlessness. Outside the police station, before you left, an unremarkable Buick sedan slowly parked nearby. Two people got out, one of whom you recognized. Yo, little girl, our fate is deep enough that we even meet at the police station. You weren't in a hurry to get in the car and instead walked toward them with a smile. Mr. Qin, hello. Once Tang Shu saw it was you, her face changed instantly and she began to stutter. Why look at me as if you've seen a ghost? You narrowed your eyes with a playful tone. Old Tang Dexuan greets President Qin. Tang Shu was speechless. So Tang Dexuan quickly stepped forward with a smile. Tang Dexuan? I chuckled. I know you're a famous TCM doctor in Qiuming. I heard your medical skills are quite remarkable. President Qin overpraises me. Tang Dexuan hurriedly lowered his head. There's no overpraising. I've heard of your name long ago. By the way, old gentleman, why are you here? Your question was purely rhetorical. But it made the old man's heart tighten. He didn't believe for a second that you didn't know Ling Feng was connected to him. In other words, the other party was testing his attitude. Old Tang had been around a long time and understood social graces perfectly. Immediately realizing the situation, he spoke up. Mr. Qin, I'm truly sorry. I only heard at night that the young lad Lin had a dispute with Master Qin. Young Lin just arrived in Qiuming and is unfamiliar with the place. An impulsive moment is inevitable. I hope you, as a great person, can show mercy and let him go once. Tang Dexuan was indeed a character. These words held several layers of meaning. First, saying he only found out at night cleared himself of being an accomplice. Then saying Lin Feng just arrived hinted that the relationship wasn't deep, just an old acquaintance. He was clearly asking for a favor, yet he appeared humble, as if submitting. It drew a line and avoided offending either side. 3 birds with 1 stone. I laughed. Old Mr. Tang, I don't understand your words. I, Qin Tian, am just a dutiful businessman. Since I was beaten this time, all I can do is call the police. You ask me to show mercy, but as a law-abiding citizen, where do I get the right to interfere in public affairs? But you needn't worry. Whoever is at fault will bear it. This matter started with my son, so I won't wrong anyone, nor will I take my anger out on others. As for the dispute between my son and that Lin Feng, I believe the police comrades will handle it fairly, don't you agree? Tang Dexuan was left speechless by your words. Seeing this, I waved my hand and suggested, Fine, I have things to do, take your time. After speaking, you nodded to him, turned, and got into the back seat of the Rolls-Royce. The action was crisp and left no room for argument. Only no one saw the cold sneer that rose on the corner of your mouth before you closed the door. Wanting to turn big things into small and small into nothing? Old Tang was too naive. Having finally sent this guy in, how could I easily let him out? Old Li, call Deng Zhongchu, hand this case to him, and find a way to send this kid inside. Understood, President Qin. Although Old Lai was confused as to why the boss insisted on using official procedures, the message was quickly sent to Deng Junchu. After hearing the story, he slapped his thigh and said, Lin Feng is definitely going to the big house this time. Although it was wrong for Qin Shiji to move first, Lin Feng's combo was too ruthless. Someone just swings a fist, and you turn around and kick them several meters away? Beating his bodyguards wasn't enough. You had to go up and forcibly crush Qin Shiji's shin bone? This finishing move clearly left no way out. The evidence was right there, every point striking a nerve. If he still couldn't be sent to prison, then he really shouldn't be in this business. You returned home at 9 p.m., and before your butt touched the sofa. The doorbell rang. Then Butler Feng's voice drifted over. Young master, Miss Mu has arrived. Hearing this, I frowned. Bring her in. Mu Dai stepped inside with crisp movements. She was Qin Tian's private secretary, named Murong Dai, but usually called Mu Dai. Her black hair was tied in a bun, wearing black framed glasses, a white shirt with a black skirt, silk stockings, and high heels. She walked with the wind! She stood in the living room with a respectful tone. I scanned her and gave a flat, saying, sit down. The original host had some female confidants after his wife left, but Mu Dai was never one of them. Was she not beautiful enough? No. The key was that this woman was capable. The company couldn't do without her, no matter how arrogant. Queen Tian was. He wouldn't destroy such a pillar for temporary pleasure. President Qin, I'll go over tomorrow's routine and recent work with you. I nodded. The high-level meeting originally scheduled for today was postponed because of the young master's matter. It's moved to 10 a.m. tomorrow. Also, President Su of the Su Group has an appointment to have dinner with you at 5 p.m. tomorrow at the Dihao Hotel to discuss the details of cooperation between the Qin and Su families. This is the itinerary. Do you want to take a look? She said, handing over a paper. I waved it off. No need, just arrange it properly. Okay, President Qin. Here is also the project data for the Xicheng real estate. Next, she spoke about work progress for about an hour before leaving, and I finally ended my first day of CEO life after traveling through time, early the next morning. I appeared at the company on time, ready to clean up the mess. Meanwhile, Lin Feng had spent a night at the police station. Hearing he might go to jail, he was stunned on the spot. Deng Junchu arrived early in the morning and announced his 2 charges, excessive defense and intentional injury. Combined, it would be at least 2 or 3 years. Lin Feng's eyes turned cold, and a blood feud against the Qin family was marked in his heart. But hate as he might, he couldn't think of a way out. Little brother Lin, I'm truly sorry. Tang Dexuan was full of guilt. This really isn't your fault. I just didn't see the situation clearly. Lin Feng spoke lightly, but he was unhappy in his heart. The Qin family wants me to go to jail? No way! As soon as the words left his mouth, His mind whirred through several options. Seeing a shift in Lin Feng's eyes, Tang Dexuan immediately responded. "Little brother Lin, as long as you say it, I, Tang Dexuan, will never refuse." Lin Feng snapped back and smiled. "There really is something I need you to do." Tang Dexuan raised an eyebrow in surprise. Before he could ask, Lin Feng reached out and untied a jade pendant from his neck. "Help me give this thing to someone." Ding! Successfully accused the protagonist. Minor plot adjustment in effect. Villain points plus 300, reclaimed luck value 20 points. I glanced at the system prompt and frowned slightly. Only 300? Making a call to the police earned 800 points. This time, using a lawyer only gave this much? I shook my head and didn't bother to dwell on it. Anyway, these things weren't under my control. Just keep moving forward. At this time, you were walking toward the company with the beautiful secretary Mu Dai. You walked with a stern face, eyes forward, while Mu Dai walked beside you holding a file bag, constantly reporting the matters to be handled at today's meeting. While speaking, she would occasionally peek at the man beside her, upright build, a face with ruthlessness yet composure, unlike any man she had seen before. In her heart, this was the perfect male template. Unfortunately, her own background was ordinary, 10,000 miles away from such a top tycoon. That affection could only be suppressed in her heart, not even dared to be dreamed of. "Yo, second brother, you're finally here!" On the 88th floor of the Qin headquarters. The elevator opened to a man in a suit standing at the meeting room door. His hair was slicked back, and he greeted with a grin. The Qin family had 4 children, all very different. The eldest, Qin Zheng, served in the army for over 10 years. He had a quiet temper, didn't like business, and managed a few star hotels for peace. The third, Qin Wu, was true to his name, obsessed with martial arts all day, with a fiery personality, managing gyms, martial arts halls, and nightclubs. The fourth sister, Qin Yuan, was a powerful woman who returned from a top foreign university with a master's degree, managing all the family's female consumer brands with efficiency. And I was the second, with incredible business talent since childhood. The old man handed all the core industries to me. Now someone might ask, wouldn't the other siblings be jealous? It's absolutely impossible. According to novel tropes, villain families all have one common trait. They are united like an iron bucket. Hit one and the whole family comes out. Injure one and the whole clan gets angry. That's just standard configuration. "Third brother, why are you here?" "To give you a wedding invitation." Qin Wu casually pulled out a gold-stamped card. "I'm getting married in half a month." "Second brother, you must be there. I wanted to save it for the family dinner, but I was afraid you'd forget." "Married?" I was slightly stunned. "So suddenly?" "How is it sudden? I'm 38. Is getting married considered rushed?" Qin Wu grinned, completely unconcerned. "All right, second brother, you need to work harder too." Saying this, his gaze shifted to Mu Dai beside you. "I'm waiting to drink wedding wine from you and Miss Mu." I was stunned on the spot. My face blank! Mu Dai's face flushed red instantly, her ears almost smoking. Quote, "Can you be serious?" I snapped back and glared at him. This guy was nearly 40 and still spent all day teasing me. Qin Wu laughed and slapped the table, feeling great. The two chatted for a bit more before Qin Wu shoved the wedding invitation into your hand and left without even eating. Once Qin Wu left, the high-level routine meeting of the Qin group began immediately. The table was full of people, all core company members. Seeing the group below listening quietly to me, I felt a sense of fulfillment. The meeting had no complex procedures, just which plot of land was stuck in approval, which project needed additional investment, or which relationship needed greasing. With the original host's memory and Mu Dai's help to fill the gaps, handling these things was smooth. But what I didn't notice was that since Qin Wu's mention, Mu Dai would occasionally peek at him through her glasses during the meeting. At 3 p.m., at the Su Mansion in Qiuming, the head of the family, Su Zhenyang, stood in the living room with a deep frown, looking at his old father on the sofa with confusion. "Dad, what is the background of this jade pendant's owner? Is it really worth it? Offending the Qin family for him?" "Whether it's worth it isn't for me to say." Old Master Su slowly flipped the jade pendant in his hand. The thing had a strange shape, and he couldn't see the trick. His voice was low but unquestionable. "This is a promise I made back then. Escaping for my life in a chaotic world, the enemies chased me to a dead end, and he saved my life." But even so, you can't take it upon yourself to let Yanran marry a young brat. Su Zhengyang sighed. If Yanran found out, wouldn't she throw a fit? What's there to fit about? The old man snorted. Being the fiancé of that man's disciple is her fortune. Others couldn't even beg for such a good thing. What does she have to complain about? Grandpa, Dad, what are you talking about? A clear and beautiful voice suddenly sounded, breaking the argument. A figure in a light blue dress walked in gracefully. Su Yanran, Su Zhenyang's only daughter. 24 years old, 1.65 meters tall, with straight black hair falling naturally over her shoulders, paired with that cold, flawless face, she was so beautiful one couldn't look away. Yanran, why are you here? Looking at Su Yanran at the door, Su Zhengyang froze, his face feeling a bit hot. What he and the old man were saying was something he hadn't mentioned to her at all. I left a document here, just came back to get it. Su Yanran spoke flatly, her gaze turning to her father. Dad, I just heard you say something about a fiancé. This sounds strange. Su Zhengyang felt even more uneasy, unconsciously rubbing his pants. Sigh, you can hide for a while, but not forever. Since she heard it, just come clean. Old Master Su waved his hand, his tone quite stiff. Arranging a childhood marriage with an ice beauty is a cliché plot, but according to the rules, this cold female CEO definitely wouldn't buy it. Next, the old man would have the protagonist work in the company, arranged as a driver or personal bodyguard. Then, the protagonist, relying on his skills, would save her from danger several times, and the iceberg would naturally melt into a hot spring. Sure enough, once Su Yanran heard about this, she was instantly furious. I won't marry! After speaking, she grabbed the files and turned to leave. The door slamming with a bang! Old Master Su sighed, and Su Zhengyang could only shake his head with a bitter smile. However, the old man knew in his heart that after some time, his granddaughter would surely be won over by that boy. Xiaodi, how much liquid cash is currently on the company's books? Talking business over a meal is common for many, so the meeting between the Qin and Su families was set by Mu Dai for 5 p.m., around 6 billion. I rubbed my chin and nodded. Enough. Does President Qin need money? If needed, I can allocate it now. No, just asking casually. Go prepare for the meeting in a bit. For the current you, guarding the family business was enough. Why bother with other ventures? No matter how fast other businesses were, they couldn't be faster than trapping the protagonist at 5 p.m. I took Mu Dai straight to the Dihao Hotel. Just as we arrived at the door, a man in a suit hurried forward. Hello, President Qin. I'm the manager here, surname Gong. President Su is already waiting for you in the private room. Lead the way. Walking through the corridor. The group soon arrived at the Tianzhao private room. Haha, President Qin is here. Please come in, please come in. Hello, Uncle Qin. Yo, isn't this the Yanran girl? I scanned her and thought, oh my, you've grown so tall, let me give you a hug. These words almost slipped out, but luckily you reacted quickly and swallowed them back. Both families were top tycoons in Qiuming and naturally knew each other. The relationship wasn't iron, but it wasn't bad either. The Su family's main business was home appliance manufacturing, which was famous in the industry. This joint effort was over a plot of land that was a bit messy. The Su family didn't touch real estate, and their money was basically tied up in appliances. But they had wide connections, so the Qin and Su families planned to get that land and let the Qin family develop it. The Su family wouldn't put up money, only take dividends. Besides the driver and bodyguard, the Su family brought 3 people: Su Zhengyang, his daughter Su Yanran, and a female secretary. When I first saw Su Yanran, I was stunned for a moment. This girl was truly impeccable, strikingly beautiful, but her gaze was as cold as a winter lake. A typical high-cold boss vibe. Previously there was a weak nurse, a hot-tempered policewoman, and now an ice beauty. Could she be one of the female leads too? Before a female lead's relationship with the protagonist is in place, luck won't shift to the villain. She looks just like an ordinary person. So you couldn't directly measure who the female lead was and could only guess. Currently Su Yanran looked the part, but you didn't dare guarantee it. The 2 bosses greeted each other politely, while those truly discussing details were Mu Dai and the secretary named Li Yutong. President Qin, I heard your son had a conflict with someone yesterday and went to the hospital. Is this true? Before the food was even touched, Su Zhengyang spoke to test the waters. Yes, such a thing did happen. My son was indeed in the wrong first, but the other party